Ladies and gentlemen, my name is James Wetu. I'm so glad about today, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And just to let you know, this is Convo, encouraging conversations that matter. Today I'm joined by a gentleman who will be engaging in a conversation, not a new conversation, but we've held this conversation in a prior broadcast. There are blogs about it, and it's all about postpartum depression. And the reason why I'm so excited about this conversation is because not only does it affect women, it does affect men as well. And so I'm joined in by a gentleman and a family man who will help me unravel this, thing we are calling PPD or postpartum depression. How a man, you know why? Last time when Dr. Freda was hosting Los Lane, the issue of men came up in that conversation, and that's why I thought we as men we need to stand up. We need to be to be counted in addressing this issue. Maybe also most of men do not understand this condition, and that's why we felt that we need to have this conversation. What we do here, we just have an open conversation as men. This is He Matters issues men. And so because postpartum is affecting women, we can learn away from that. It's us. It's affecting us as well. And so I want to welcome my guest today, who happens to be a family man, a person I've known for some time now, a friend, and I know his family. And I want him to help me, I want to hear from him and as he help me understand postpartum depression. Maybe he doesn't really, he'll tell me if he has come up with if this word is a new word to him or it's a word that is familiar, we'll get to know. But I'm really, really excited about this. And I want to welcome my friend Gachoki. How are you?
Very, very well.
Yes, yes.
I think it's for the word postpartum depression.
Yes.
The combination of the words looks new,
Uh-huh.
but the word post and depression are not new.
Okay.
Perhaps
But
partum,
there's a word there that it's
meaning,
postpartum.
but the meaning is very, very much familiar.
Wow, good. So I want to welcome you to Convo.
Yes,
This is a platform where we encourage conversations that matter.
yes,
And this series we call it He Matters.
yes,
And we as men just talk about issues to do with men.
yes,
Because men are very critical. They're leaders in our families. And if men are not rising up to be who they are meant to be, sometimes our families, our societies maybe become weak. And so we want strong families, we want strong communities. That's why we thought it's good to have a conversation just to revolving around men.
yes,
Now, we have another session we call Doctor's Bench. And last show that we did,
yes,
Dr. Freda was, discussing the issue to do with postpartum depression
yes,
that affects so many women. Actually, 1 out of 10 women kind of experience postpartum depression.
yes,
And postpartum is depression. Just the thing is a depression that after delivery, and so the woman become overwhelmed, become overwhelmed by emotions, and taking care of the baby, the whole experience, and the woman can be depressed.
yes,
And so because now the guest who was with her said that men also have a very crucial role to play to alleviate and prevent postpartum depression
Yes.
among women.
Yes.
So I thought we as men also need to come up and discuss about postpartum depression, because we want families that are strong, families that are thriving.
yes.
So that's why we needed to have that conversation. And maybe to ask you, I don't know whether you've ever encountered that kind of depression being a family man.
Actually, the postpartum depression,
Yes.
I think the statistics that are given, they might be varying, but I think it happens to both men
Yes.
and both women,
Sure.
also depending on various factors,
Yes.
like pengine cultural backgrounds, what do you believe in, why are you supposed to come in, and perhaps by experience,
Yes.
men are supposed to be there.
Yes.
Even during the time of pregnancy. If I can just take pengine a back pitch from before discussing the postpartum depression.
Yes.
Because if it's a depression, then it means it's what we call a stimuli response. There must be something that has caused it.
Yes.
And so if it is there,
Yes.
and you see, depression is a negative word. It's not a positive word.
Yes.
So it's supposed to either to be mitigated,
Yes.
or to be managed, or to be avoided at all costs. So what are men supposed to do? What are they how are they supposed to come in,
Yes.
so that we either elevate it completely,
Yes.
manage it when it comes at minimum levels,
Yes.
or completely do away with it.
Yes.
Before even birth of a child,
Sure.
men are supposed to be there. The journey after conception, the journey of pregnancy,
Yes.
until the day of delivery,
Sure.
men are supposed to be there. And I think with that one,
Yes.
the postpartum depression
Yes.
can either be elevated completely,
Yes.
or if it is going to be there,
Yes.
to be managed at low levels.
Yes.
By experience, I have been there.
Okay.
So I know how it can be managed, how it comes.
Okay.
I've been there during the delivery,
Yes.
being there in the hospital, and we have seen it bring it down to certain level. So men are supposed to be there
Yes.
before, during pregnancy,
Yes.
during birth,
Yes.
and after birth,
Wow.
and as in after delivery. So with that one,
Yes.
we are able to alleviate the postpartum depression.
Yes.
Why did I bring in the aspect of culture? Because I know there are some culture
Yes.
which do not believe in that men are supposed to be there, or are supposed to give support
Yes.
to their women when they are pregnant, or during birth and after birth. Actually, there are some men, when they hear that their women are going to deliver,
Yes.
they actually go to pub to celebrate the birth of their children.
Yes.
So you find that when women are there giving birth with all that pain, whether it is normal delivery or through CS,
Yes.
the man will be found when the child will be at least 1 or 2 months or 3 months.
Yes.
So anything that comes in between that time and 3 months, the man is not there. And that's why I think culture, the upbringing of men, beliefs, those are some of the things that perhaps we can circumnavigate and see how we can be able to manage them, and bringing the aspect of postpartum depression is there.
Yes.
How are we supposed to manage it? How are we supposed to elevate it?
Yes.
Or how can we do away with it?
Ah.
Because it is a negative thing,
Yes.
and a negative thing is not good to live with it.
Sure. Sure.
Yes.
Wow. I think you said you brought in something very critical about culture.
Yes.
And how we look at it. Like, instead of, and it is true what you said, instead of men being there during the whole process,
Yes.
sometimes they're not seen.
Yes.
And when I look at life in up country, in the village,
Yes.
and I look life in urban areas, I think there is a lot of difference.
Yes.
In such a way that in the up country, you find that men are together in the family setup.
Yes.
We have even the extended family living in the same compound. So the care and the support become a little bit easier when we have an expectant mother in that particular compound. But in urban areas, maybe it's only you and maybe your wife who are in that, maybe living in that house.
Yes.
And so how do you bridge that gap? What can we tell men, especially those of us who are living in urban areas, not to maybe, that mindset, growing up in a country, now you're in town, you don't have an extended family with you there.
I think the most important thing for a man to understand,
Yes.
especially when he has his own family,
Yes.
is to know that when he got married, there is an institution he left and started another one.
Yes.
There is the aspect of ownership.
Yes.
Whether you are in up country or whether you are in town setup,
Yes.
you have your own institution to bring up.
Yes.
You have your own family to bring up.
Yes.
You have your own children to bring up.
Yes.
You have your own father. You have your own wife to take care of.
Yes.
Okay, let me perhaps bring it from the urban perspective. The urban perspective sees that perhaps the estate that you live, you don't know anybody. You wake up very early in the morning to go to work. You come back in the evening. Perhaps you only interact with your landlord when paying rent.
Sure.
You interact only with the mama boga there at the estate. You actually don't know your neighbor. So even when your wife is pregnant,
Yes.
there's nobody you can run to. The nearest person you can call is perhaps the nearest contact, which is on a phone.
Yes. Yes.
It perhaps is your friend who is away some miles away from where you live.
Yes.
And so the urban setup makes you feel that you are so much close to your wife than anybody else,
Yes.
which is a good perspective. When you go to the up country,
Yes.
you realize that perhaps you as a family man, you have built in the same compound with your mother.
Yes.
Your brother is there, he's married. Your sister perhaps didn't get married, but she has children. So she has gone through the process of pregnancy and giving birth.
Yes.
This is on an assumption that you are first-time father. This is your firstborn. So you find yourself surrounded by your mother, your father, your schoolmates whom they married before you. So when your wife is pregnant,
Yes.
you already have a clique of people whom you can run to.
Run to, sure.
Actually, even you can tell them, I'm away for some few days. If my wife gets into labor,
Yes.
you can get in touch
Yes,
with them.
yes.
So you already have a mindset that a very near help is very near to you. Other than when you are in the town setup, sometimes you don't know anybody.
Sure.
And even where you work is very far away. Your workmate might even be 40 kilometers away. So if your wife is in labor,
Yes.
do you call for him to come to drive 40 miles away?
Yes, yeah.
I think the most important thing for men to understand, whether in both in upcountry or in town setup,
Yeah.
it is to know that they have a responsibility to carry, they have a duty to do, that they started their own institution.
Yes.
They must own out that institution. They must be psychologically prepared,
Yes.
financially prepared. It is not that when your wife is telling you that it's time for labor, that's now when you are trying to get into Fuliza,
Yes.
M-Pesa, M-Shwari, that's when you are going
Yes,
to buy
yes.
diapers. Months down the line, you should be prepared.
Yes.
So that at any time when your wife tells me that time is now up,
Yes.
actually, you are also even supposed to know when is the EDD, when is the expected day of delivery.
Yes.
So that in your calendar you know, from a medical background,
Yes.
2 weeks before the EDD, or 2 weeks after the EDD, the baby or the babies can come at any time. So you are supposed to be prepared for that. With that mindset, postpartum depression is very easy to manage, and it is very easy even to go along it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it means that men ought to, take up their possessions and not, relinquish that possession. And what I heard is about ownership and responsibility, being in the bigger picture, what is happening. And just moving forward, I'd love you to help us maybe even understand better what can a man do? Yes, I've taken ownership. I'm there. My wife is, maybe emotionally overwhelmed.
Yes.
What are some of the things that a man can do, maybe to alleviate or manage a case of maybe an unfortunate case of postpartum depression?
I think looking at it from a broader or a wider perspective,
Yes.
I think the most important thing to look at it's the aspect of the target as a father, whether he's a first-time father, a second-time father, a third time, or whichever number. What are you supposed to, what is your role after delivery?
Yes, exactly.
Not even now looking at the aspect of the postpartum depression. Of course it is there, but we're also looking at can we do away with it?
Yes.
What is the role of the man after delivery? Perhaps just to mention 1 or 2, 3, which I am able to remember. Number one, I think the man is supposed also to play the role of 50-50. 50%, 50 being the father, 50% be the mother. There are so many things that you are able to do as a man. I think the aspect of the culture perspective whereby men believe that there's something they're not supposed to do
Yes.
because the wife has given birth or because the children have come, I think now we are past that regime.
Yes.
We are past the regime where the man says that they cannot wash the child.
Yes.
We are past the regime where people believe men cannot change diapers to the children. We are past the regime where men believe, or some cultures believe, that men can't go for shopping,
Yes.
men can't cook, men can't wash clothes, men can't mop the house. This is an assumption that it is only the man and the wife and the child who are there, because there are some roles which you cannot delegate to the house help. And the house help can come one day after seeing the scenario, she leaves. So what happens when the house help leaves?
Yes.
So we are looking at the situation whereby all factors constant.
Yes.
The man is in the house, the woman is in the house, and the child is in the house, or the children is in the house.
Yes.
I want you to figure out a scenario whereby you have been blessed with that, with twin or triplets,
Yes.
and you have employed house help who have come to the house,
Yes.
and the work is so overwhelming, she leaves.
Yes.
Na umeachwa hapo peke yako. So what are you going to do?
Uh-huh.
So those are the factors that perhaps we are supposed to do, and that's why I'm saying, now the man is supposed to now to play the role of the father and the role of the mother.
Yes.
I am assuming in case of triplets, perhaps that lady gave birth through CS.
Oh yeah.
She can't bend down, she can't lift up heavy things.
Yes.
So if it looks like things like mopping the house, that is being left to the father.
Yes.
He is supposed to do that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's look like it's changing the diapers, he is supposed to be there.
Yes.
He is the father. The issue of manhood that I cannot change diapers is not supposed to be there. The issue of I am a man, I can't go to buy greens, go to the shopping, is not supposed to be there. This is now parenthood, this is now fatherhood,
Yes.
this is now husbandhood. If there is such an English one like that one. You are a husband, you are a father, you are now also, in quotes, a wife in one way or another, in that scenario. Number two,
Yes.
you're supposed to keep an eye on the moods of the wife
Yes.
or on the mother. Look at how her moods are,
Yes.
are swing, and let me call them mood swings. Check on the moods and manage them. When they are down because perhaps of the pain, she's been drained because of the breastfeeding, the energy levels are down. Look at the mood. Ask, is it the best time for you to take a soft drink?
Yes.
Is it the best time for you to take a shower? Being there for everything.
Okay.
Also, as a father, the third point, be positive.
Be positive.
Parenthood is a season. These children are only going to be with you for those few days. After some few months, they are starting clothing. After some few months, they are starting to walk. After some few months, they are chewing, they are brushing their teeth alone. I think they are able to self-manage the things that they are doing. So because it is it's like what I can call a passing cloud.
As a person cloud.
So be positive and know that this is just a season,
Yes.
and every season has a beginning and has an end.
Wow.
So it's easy to manage being there for them.
Oh man, I think that is so strong, and I like it. And I think when someone calls you a father or calls you, a husband or a man, it's not just a name. It comes with can I say cost?
Yes,
And it's a kind of
and a very huge cost.
and it's a clown. It feels good to be called a father, and it comes with a cost. And the reason why I'm so confident about what my guest is saying to me, because I've seen him raise 3 boys, and I know what it means to raise 3 boys every single day. And I'm so confident about what he's saying, and man, it's too, it is huge. Now, I'll ask another question.
Yes.
Now, you've tried as much as you can to be able to alleviate or manage these, issues, depression, and all that stuff. Maybe not to overwhelm the mother. And sometimes, even me myself, sometimes because of when you see your wife, anguishing, when you feel herself alone, because sometimes depression, you just want to be alone. When you see her, that kind of moods, those emotional states, sometimes it can also affect you as a man. And so that's why even as you say that post-depression can affect a man, it can affect her. So how do I ensure that myself, I'm also taking care of myself, so that I'm able also to be able to take care of my entire family, so that I don't fall into the pit myself also?
I think now that one also comes with mentorship, and that's why it's not good to be alone.
Yes.
I think it is important when we come to now to such one, talk to a fellow man
Yes.
who have gone before or who have gone ahead of you. Of course, you are not the first one. There are other men who have been into such scenario whereby their wives have given birth and they are the only one who are alone in the house with them. I think it's important even before birth.
Yes.
Try to identify yourself with, or try to identify yourself with men who have been fathers before,
Yes.
and whom you know they are good examples.
Yes.
Ask them how they manage the afterbirth scenario. Ask them how they manage their wives.
Yes.
Of course, it is not copy pasting, but it's just a matter of gaining some wisdom, gaining some insights.
Yes.
Because also the Bible says, if I can borrow a leaf, that as a man sharpens, as an iron sharpens iron,
Yes.
so a man does to his countenance. So speak to your fellow men. The reason why I wouldn't be very much into asking perhaps getting a leaf from your father or from your biological father is because times and seasons have changed.
Oh, sure.
The way you are brought up or the way you are born,
Yes.
and the way you, during that era and during the era in which your child or your children have been born, they are different.
Yes.
In terms of even types of feeding, clothing.
Yes.
When I was being born, we were using napkins. Nowadays, it's diapers. Perhaps in some years to come, diapers will be something of the old.
Yeah.
A new technology might have come up in terms of managing.
Yes.
When we were being brought up, it was a time for when our mothers used to bring us up using bananas, roasted bananas.
Yes.
Nowadays, this age, I've not seen any, this especially in the last 3 decades,
Yes.
any woman bringing up his children using bananas. It is now time for nannies,
Yes, yes.
Cerelac, and modern food. Technology has changed and things keep on changing.
Yes.
So even in matters of managing the depression from the man's perspective,
Yes.
I think in terms of identifying yourself with men who have gone through that stage
Yes.
and they have managed or who have been able to bring up their children and their wives in the same environment as you can, you can just ask them, by the way, how did you do it? How did you manage?
How do you manage this?
When this happened, what did you do?
Yes.
When this happened, what did you do? I remember when we had our firstborn,
Yes.
and we were not used to sleeping in turns. This means
Yes.
my wife either sleeps from 8 in the 8 in the evening up to around 12, because the baby keeps on waking up. So between 12 midnight and perhaps 4,
Yes.
I'm the one
On duty.
on duty. And my due by 6, I'm supposed to be awake to prepare to go to job.
Yes.
So, as in, you can identify yourself now with such people and ask them, our baby keeps on, as in he or she wakes up so very much frequent during the night. And we are finding ourselves, both of us are sleeping, how can we do it? So somebody can just advise you, just make shift, make a program.
Yes.
During the day, let one of you relax, so that during the night,
Yes.
they can be awake.
Yes.
And such things can happen.
Yes.
I have seen women who complain because their husbands
Yes.
don't do shopping. As in, they said house helps, go and buy this, go and buy this, go and buy this. And then when they come in, you find that what they had been sent is not what they are bringing in. So, such things they can just help you. So instead of that one, and you are the husband,
Yes.
when your wife and your child are both asleep, why don't you rush to the nearest grocery, rush to the nearest supermarket, rush to the nearest shop,
Yes.
buy what your wife needs, and then bring them up.
Yes.
And then with such you're able to manage them. So that even yourself, you find that what would have made you to get depressed has really gone down to lower levels.
Yes, yes.
And you are able now to get energized for other things. If it is in terms of cooking, you realize that
Yes.
perhaps because it is your wife who was used to cook food even when she was pregnant before birth, and now that she has given birth, she's not able to go to the kitchen.
Yes.
Your house help or somebody goes to the kitchen and cooks food
Yes.
that you're not used to.
Sure.
So you ask yourself, am I going to eat this food?
Yes.
Such things make you to get depressed. So instead of that one, why don't you get to the kitchen
Okay.
and cook? Ask wife, what do you want us to cook today? How is the recipe made? Even if you're not going to make food the way your wife or the way the food was being used to cook by your wife,
Yes.
but at least there shall be a certain level of satisfaction such that you are not going to be depressed as it would have been when the house help would have cooked.
Satisfaction being the fact that you are the one who made.
Exactly.
So what I got is the fact that now it's now adopting those roles with a clean heart.
Yes.
Go to the shop, go to the kitchen. That when you feel you're helping, actually, I think you also feel that fact that you are helping and you are alleviating these things when you're participating in the duties in the house.
There is a level of self-satisfaction
Yes.
that comes with yourself doing what you like.
Yes.
It's like being in a job
Yes.
where, or in a business
Yes.
where you like doing, other than being in a career
Yes.
where you are forced by circumstance or by parents or by perhaps mentorship. You are being told to be a pilot is very good, but you wanted to be a carpenter.
Sure.
You see, so you find where your heart is not where your physical body is. So if cooking food for yourself,
Yes.
even if it is to be, it will be long, that is borrowing mother tongue English translation. Even if it is going to be like that,
Yes.
by you get into the kitchen,
Yes.
putting little salt, excess sugar, it has a certain level of satisfaction.
Yes.
Other than somebody else doing it and
And
bringing
then-
it to you,
exactly.
even being in the same level.
You feel angry, you feel as if the other person didn't make what I can relate to what you're saying.
Yes.
I can relate.
I remember there's a time when one of our household,
Yes.
personally there's a type of rice I am used to eating. Sorry to say this in public media. So even when we visit perhaps our parents and other places, and we find that that type of rice is not the one that we are used to, of course you'll eat. Because we don't go to make rules in other places.
yes.
But I remember there's a time when one of our house help cooked rice, but then stew, when it was brought to the table, it was like a stew in a sea of water. So, you know what, you tell your wife, now this one, weka kwa fridge, should be eating, but let me go back to the kitchen and cook what I missed. So, now to avoid such things, what do you do?
Just jump into
Just
the
go to the kitchen, cook
Yes.
what, because I'm a good chef,
Yes.
cook and enjoy the meal. So you minimize depression in such a way.
I think that's amazing. I want you to talk as briefly because
Yes.
I can see our time is really running.
Yes,
The issue of postpartum depression is very serious.
yes,
And I'm so confident speaking with you about this topic. And I know there are so many people who've separated
yes,
and who've divorced
Mm.
and who have even a lot of fighting because of being unable to manage the depression that comes after delivery. Because as we said, it can be really overwhelming, emotionally draining.
yes.
So what can you tell such a man or people who are finding themselves in such a situation? Is the divorce, is separation, is the fights the solution?
I think, well, that's very much now extreme,
Yes.
but I think one of the things that I would want to speak to, especially men, because they might find themselves being in that situation, it is to understand their role. Number one, as a husband and as a father.
Yes.
Those two things are very important. Let them understand that being a husband is not only being there for your wife when she's not pregnant
Yes.
or when she has just given birth. It is now the duty, it is now his duty
Yes.
to be there for the woman,
Yes.
because she will also be there for him when he'll be in other circumstances that can have depression that comes, for example, like with losing a job.
Exactly.
Because
Yes.
now, if a husband loses a job,
Yes.
what we call the ripple effect will be felt indirectly by the woman, but directly to the man. So, what would be the expectation of a man
Situation.
to the woman in such a scenario? How would he want to be treated in such a scenario, and especially whereby perhaps the woman is also earning, but him is not also not, he is not earning. Now let's come to this situation whereby the woman is in that situation. She has given birth, and there are those things that comes with what we are talking about, the postpartum depression. So the man is supposed to manage that situation and make sure that even if there is depression either from the woman or from even himself or from both, those levels are managed with minimal cost.
Yes, yes.
Issues of divorce and separation, they are not supposed to be brought about by because we are managing afterbirth, we are managing the child. Perhaps because the wife is telling the woman, please change the diapers. And the man, from perhaps where he comes from, he knows that role is not is for the man, is for the women.
Yes.
So instead of him doing that one, he says it is better for me to leave the house other than doing that one, because he'll be seeing it as a taboo. I think if I would speak to the men, let them know that they have a husbandly role
Yes.
and they have a fatherly role. And actually, one of the things that is supposed to come into their mind, God forbid, if the mother is not there and the child is there,
Yes.
what can he do? Will he bring in a new mother? Will he now employ somebody to bring up the child for him? What would happen? We have seen cases where my women pass on after delivery, perhaps because of excess breeding or other conditions that comes with giving birth. And the man is left with the child in the house alone. What can he do? You know, sometimes as much as it is not good to think of such things, but sometimes it is good to crisscross your mind into other circumstances and see how much better can you manage, or how much better can you behave in such situation, so that you now avoid issues of divorce and separation, in-house fights, emotional fights, physical fights, and stop those issues of, oh, this is not my role, this is my role, this is women's role, this is men's role. No, I think to me, when a child has come into the house
Yes.
of a man and a woman, being the firstborn or the secondborn, the man is supposed to do, I am now a father and a husband,
And take a leadership
and
role.
take the leadership role and being a role model. The woman is supposed to know, I am now a mother and a wife,
Wow.
and then bring up the children.
Wow. Wow, you had it. You had it. And wow, we can go on and on and on and speak about postpartum depression, even in our families, and how we as men, yeah, this is He Matters, we as men, how we can alleviate. Remember, men are known for leadership. And in our families, we are leaders. Something that came up very clearly is you have a husbandly role and you have a fatherly role. And you know what? That's your child. You want to raise that child the way you would love. And so it behoves you now as a man to be able not just to learn a way, be able to address those issues. I know sometimes it can be heated, but you know what? You have to be the calm one. You have to be the calm one. Remember again, prayer will help you along the way. So that's what we had for today. This is He Matters, and we are so happy that you're able to join us. If you're watching us from YouTube, kindly remember to subscribe, and hit on that bell so that you can be informed every time we have a content that we've uploaded. I just want our guests to give you a final parting shot, and then we'll call it a day today.
Well, I think my word to especially men, be there for your children, be there for your wives, and you have a very, very, very healthy, the most healthiest family that can ever be.
Yes.
Parenthood is more of a calling. It's not for the weak, it's not for the faint-hearted. You must be there.
Yes.
When ups and when downs comes,
Yes.
be there for your husband, be there for your wife, be there for your children,
Sure.
and you shall make it.
Wow.
Being a role model
Yes.
to your children as they grow up. They shall know we were brought up by a good father.
Yes.
We will also bring up good families when that time comes.
Yes.
Until next time, see you then.
Cool. Amazing. So we want to do a parting shot here. And you know what? There's so many people asking me, James, He Matters, He Matters, He Matters. Well, She Matters. She Matters is coming very, very soon. So just stay tuned in. Until next time, it's a bye-bye from us. Thank you.